If you guys hang around our shop and us for long enough, then there's no doubt that you guys know that we're kind of some bougie motherfuckers when it comes to fishing rods. We're always talking about our favorite rods, and inevitably, you know, when you're used to a certain level of sophistication, it's hard to get away from it, right? So we're always talking about things like, you know, NRX and P5s and, you know, these $500 to $1,000 rods, right? But what about the rods that are sub 200 bucks? Can you get good rods for, you know, not totally killing the bank? Today, we are going to highlight, in our opinion, the best 5 rod lines for under 200 bucks. These are rods that we sell a ton of. These are rods that are in our lineups that we have tons of experience with. We want to break them down for you guys so that if you're not looking for the ultra bougie, ultra high end, you just want good, solid bang for the buck, great sensitivity, great performance, these rods will deliver for you. So if you guys are ready, let's do it. Welcome to the Hookup Tackle. The Hookup Tackle is the world's largest showcase of Megabass products, featuring baits and colors not found at any other dealer. The Hookup also offers a wide display of OSP, Evergreen, Depths, Lucky Craft, Jackal, and many more. The Hookup Tackle is owned and operated by family, is staffed by guides and verified tackle nerds who love helping anglers elevate their craft. If you're in the Phoenix area, we'd love to have you stop by our showroom and check out the wonderful world of Megabass and the Hookup for yourself. If you shop online, there are almost 10,000 SKUs of Megabass products alone, with hundreds of other companies and new products being added daily. So next time you're looking for that hard to find bait, that color your fish have never seen before, or maybe you just want to elevate your game, look at thehookuptackle.com. All right, welcome back, my friends. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle, aka the Tackle Otaku, being filmed by my friend Jeffrey the King. We are the Hookup Tackle USA. Today, we are breaking down our 5 favorite rod lines for under 200 bucks. When's the last time I've talked about a rod under 200 bucks, Jeff?
A few months ago with the Levante.
That's true.
I think that's the
true.
last time.
Yeah. So, you know, as with everything, I think, in life, once you're kind of used to something, it's hard to not stay in that lane, right? And we tell people in here all the time when they're buying their first P5 or they're buying their first NRX or something like that, like, dude, get ready. Like, because it's opening this world that you never knew existed, right? And everything else just isn't going to seem the same. But not everybody is ready for those huge jumps, and you don't necessarily need those huge jumps all the time, right? So, you know, if this was 10 years ago, I would say the difference in quality between a $500 or $600 rod and a $199 rod was just, you know, night and day, right? I wouldn't even want to use a $199 rod. But at this point in time, as far as technology has come, the $199 price point, both with rods and with reels, basically is the point that all the tech gets dumped into. So when we're talking bang for the buck, that $199-ish price point is where you are going to get the biggest bang for the buck. All the tech is dumped into them. They're light, they're sophisticated. You would never even know some of these rods weren't $500 or $600 until you look at the price tag. So this is an amazing, you know, category to really get into premium bass rods. And it'll be fun to talk about because the rods that we talk about every day and the rods that, you know, we use and have a lot of time behind and a lot of history behind. So this will be exciting for us. So let's just jump right in. So, you know, it's hard for me to talk about rods and not talk about Megabass, right? So I'm a huge fan of Megabass rods. So let's just start right here. Let's get it out of the way and jump right into the Megabass Levante line. Now, the Levante line is Megabass's $199 rod line. They're completely redesigned for 2021. Just beautiful styling to them. Right, they've got the EVA foam grips, they've got gorgeous reel seats, this super dope, you know, carbon fiber lockdowns, carbon fiber in the back, you know, logo hits on them, gorgeous green with kind of purple wrapping. The rods look sexy as hell. When you pick them up, they're super light, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah. So super light. When you, if you knew nothing about Levante, like if nobody had ever heard of this, and you just walked into our store and these were on the fancy rack like they are, and you picked them up, you would just, I think, initially assume that this is a $500 or $600 rod, but they're not. They're 199 bucks. So an amazing bang for the buck. They come with the same Megabass 3-year warranty. Rod down.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. They come with the same 3-year Megabass warranty. So you're getting everything in this rod that you're going to get in one of their, you know, $500, $600, $700, $800,000 rods as far as warranty support goes. Now, a couple things to point out with Levante. Basically, if you follow Megabass rods, there's 3 core lines of rods. There's Destroyer, which has always kind of been their high-end core line. Then there's Orochi, which has kind of been a step backwards in price, right? So not quite as high of quality as the Destroyer. And then there's Levante that's positioned right under Orochi. So it's kind of a 3-tiered system, right? You've got your $199, and then your $299, and then your $399 or $499, depending on which Destroyer, right? Most of those models will transfer down, right? So what you end up getting is you end up getting, you know, all the R&D, all the time and effort that Megabass put into developing their Destroyer, their highest end rod line, all that trickles down into their $199 rods. A lot of the same models apply. So you see things like Jerkbait Special, right? It's a rod that was specifically designed for throwing jerkbaits. Flat Side Special, specifically designed for throwing topwater, and so on and so forth. So you're able to get the same actions, the same tapers, the same design without having to spend $500 in a $199 rod. So a couple things to point out really quick with Levante. Levante is a little bit slower graphite than, say, Orochi or Destroyer. So there's pros and cons to the slower graphite. The reason it's a little bit slower is they wanted to make it a little bit extra strong, right? Typically the guy that's buying $199, I don't know why I can't say $199.
Because you're not used to
because
saying
I
it,
don't
dude.
ever say
Yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
Say
Man,
$4.99.
I am a bougie motherfucker, aren't I? So usually the guy buying the $199 rod, right, is going to treat it a little bit rougher, a little bit tougher than, say, a guy is buying a $500 or $600 or $700 rod that's going to be a little bit more delicate with it, right? So it's important that the rod is a little bit more durable. So to do that, the graphite is slowed a little bit. The disadvantage to slower graphite is it's not going to be as crisp and sensitive for transmission of feel, right? The advantage of the slower graphite is it is going to bend more to help you land more fish. So there are certain models that are just straight up no-brainer, like you guys should definitely have these in your arsenal. And I'm gonna highlight a couple of those for you. And of course, we've pretty much used the entire lineup at this point, and every model is on this round. So, you know, you guys won't do any wrong by getting them. Some of the rods that the last couple gens have been a little bit too stiff and a little bit too fast. Like Jeff and I were just talking about the Leviathan, right? The big swim bait rod. It's so perfect now with the way the graphite is bending. So you guys will be really excited to get these in your hands. So a couple of models specifically that I think you should definitely take a look at. This to me has always kind of been the magical 1-2 punch of Levante. This is the Diablo Spec R, and this is the Extreme Mission Type F. So the Diablo Spec R is a 7.2, and the Extreme Mission Type F is a 7.5. They're very, very similar rods. They're both F5s, which is Megabass's rating system, which would mean about a medium heavy, but they're both kind of designed to be all around use rods. The Diablo Spec R is a rod, this is the 7.2 that, you know, I throw my bigger jerk baits on. It's kind of been the staple jerkbait rod for baits like Kanata or Max LBO. You know, some of those larger jerk baits that are too big to throw on a true jerkbait rod, Diablo Spec R is the rod. It works great for spinner baits. It works great for lipless. It works great for things like a skinny dipper. You can still throw a jig and a worm on it. Extreme Mission Type F is essentially the same rod, but lengthened out a little bit. So the bend goes down a little bit deeper into the rod with those extra few inches. So it's a great one for throwing things like medium diving crankbaits, right? Things more with treble hooks. But, you know, in some of my travels through the country, you know, Jeff and I were fishing with, you know, Kobe up in Michigan, and I was surprised to see he was throwing the Extreme Mission Type F for his jig and for his dark sleeper and for his tube, right? So by just simply putting braid on it, you can stiffen the rod up and turn it into a bottom contact rod, right? So a lot of flexibility, a lot of versatility to this line. I think you guys will love it. 199 bucks, Levante, there's number one. This is a really quick asterisk, okay? My bougie self can't.
Oh my God.
I just can't help it,
Come
dude.
on, man.
I have to talk about something else.
It's just
right?
ridiculous.
Basically, in that same price point, Megabass Japan has a line of rods called the Hyuga. They're $225, so it's going to cost you $25 more dollars. But they have some really amazing lighter actions, lighter powers, right? So, for instance, this is a 6.7 medium light. So medium lights get overlooked a lot in, you know, US designed rods. So if you guys are looking for something for throwing more like that BFS or really small hard baits, the Hyuga could be dope. It fits into the Levante lineup really, really well. It has very similar styling, only it's purple instead of green. So if you guys are looking for more of a lightweight rod, definitely check out the Hyuga. Next on my list for best under $200 is a rod that really caught all of us off guard a couple years ago. And this is from Daiwa, and this is the Daiwa Rebellion line of rods. Now, I first saw the Daiwa Rebellion at the Osaka show a couple years ago, and I had no idea this rod was coming. In fact, it wasn't really scheduled to be a US release rod. It was going to be just a Japan release rod. And so I just saw it on the rack. There's no pricing. There's no real info on it. I didn't really know it was a thing. So I had no back story or any idea what I was looking at. All I did was pick them off the rod, and then I went, holy shit, this thing's so light. This must be like a Steez replacement that's coming down the road. And that's immediately what I thought. I just assumed it was going to be a $500 or $600 rod. So when they landed and they were only 199 bucks, I was floored. I don't know why they're only $199, but it's an unbelievable rod for under 200 bucks. Crazy light, like feel that one, Jeff.
Ridiculous.
It's a pretty good size lineup. There's a lot of models. You could pretty much just be in this line and cover everything you want to cover. They have fast action jig and worm rods. They have longer like pitch and flip rods. But a couple of the rods that I think you should definitely take a look at is they have 3 glass carbon composite rods. So this is a challenge a lot of times in the lower end rods to develop a glass, like a true glass rod, because glass is pretty expensive really to do well. So to get these beautiful lightweight, and by the way, Jeff, that one that you just said was ridiculous was a glass rod.
What?
So yeah, that's the heaviest rod in their line.
That's not.
Isn't that crazy?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, you're gonna be blown away if you guys haven't felt this in hand. You're gonna be really shocked at how light and crisp and well put together these rods are. So if you guys are looking for a glass taper rod for your square bill, for your chatterbait, they make great ones. The other rod in the lineup that I think is just a super sleeper is they have a swim bait specific rod that's unbelievable. So it's got the longer grip for, you know, big casts. It's rated up to 4 ounces. So this is gonna be like your mid-range swim bait rod. It's 7'11". So you've got the long rod. It has that nice kind of soft tip, so it's gonna load baits very well for easy casting and for accurate casting. And again, there you go. You get basically an 8-foot swim bait rod for 199 bucks. It's crazy. So A-rigs, big hard baits, you know, 6-7 inch swim baits, no brainer for that one. That one's super dope. And then also their spinning models are they're pretty incredible. So what I love about them is that they've got the right grip on the front. So, you know, every spinning rod has different grips, whether they're tapered or blunt or whatever. For me, I just wanted to be comfortable. right? So I want my hand to just be resting it somewhere nice. So they have this really nice kind of forward front grip to where it's tapered, right? To where your hand's going to be sitting comfortably on the rod. They have all the actions you need. There's a light, there's a heavy, there's a medium, right? So again, 199 bucks. See, there's a non-glass one, 7-foot medium, right? It weighs nothing. They're crisp, super sensitive. It's kind of the no-brainer, you know, amazing bang for the buck, this line. So
the grip is dope.
Yeah, we sell tons of them. They're comfortable, they're made great, they're sensitive, everything you need in a rod from Daiwa, the Rebellion line. All right, well, I can't talk about the Daiwa $199 rod without talking about the Shimano version, right? So we'll yin and yang this, right? I don't want to make anybody upset. So the brand new Zodias is really impressive. So again, for that $200 price point, they're super sexy styled. They've got that kind of black and red hit. They've got the full monocoque grip. So as this is sitting on your forearm, it's widening out, so you're gonna get more feel, you know, more sensitivity transmission, so you're gonna feel more bottom contact. The Zodias line are really impressive in their fast action rods, okay? They're built very, very well. In my opinion, I almost think they made them too good. They're basically an X-Bride now, but better looking, in my opinion. So, you know, they've got all the great features, all that great sensitivity, the great back section, a couple rods that I personally think are standouts. They make a couple of jig and worm rods that I think are super dope that you guys should look at. So the 7.2 Heavy is just a perfect all-purpose kind of jig rod, pitching rod. It's got that perfect kind of nice taper. And then Jeff, here, super light,
Yep.
again, right? 199 bucks, just, it feels like nothing in your hand. The other rod that's amazing, especially for our style fishing out here, is the 7.5 medium heavy. This is a great kind of all-around jig and worm rod. Probably if I was just gonna have one rod, right? This would be the type of rod I would get. You could do Texas rig, you could do a jig, you could do shaky head, you could do so many different things with this rod. And the fact that it's 7.5 and it's this light and this balanced in your hand, it's not tip heavy, it feels correct, makes it a great option for fishing from a boat, fishing deeper water, right? So really dope that they have some of these longer, faster action, really put together correctly models under 200 bucks. So that's the Shimano Zodias line. What do you think? Pretty light, huh?
Yeah, I actually really like this one.
Yeah, super. I mean, dude, they look great.
Yeah, they look
right?
great.
They look just like a Poison Adrena.
That's what I was gonna say, dude.
Right? So, you know, there's some things that are scaled back that you don't get, but
The action's
99% of the people aren't going to notice. The biggest thing is the action correct? Which they are.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Is
nice.
the sensitivity right? Which it is.
Boom. That's all
Boom,
you need.
you're
dude.
in. Yeah, 199 bucks, you got it. All right, up next is a newer line of rods to the market, probably the newest line of rods in what we're talking about today. And this is the Victory series from St. Croix. Now, this is an important rod to have in the lineup because this is the only rod in this lineup that is 100% designed and made here in the USA, which is pretty damn impressive to do under $200. So, you know, St. Croix has been around for ages, known as having one of the best warranties in the game. They build very strong, well put together rods. And the Victory series of rods is no different. Jeff and I had a chance to R&D some of these and work with them on some of the future models that are coming out in this. But I wanted to share a couple of models that I think are really impressive and important in this and kind of break it down for you. Now, first and foremost, I will say, okay, Jeff, here is the 7.4 Heavy, which is one of my favorites in there.
Okay.
Just compare it weight-wise to that 7.5 medium heavy Zodias that you have. They're a little bit heavier,
Yeah, I'd quite say.
right?
Yes.
So they're not going to be quite as, you know, like feather light as like the Rebellion or the Zodias, right? They're still pretty light, right? For 199, again, I just can't say it. I just should not do this video. Can we get to the bougie rod?
Yeah,
yet?
can we get back to the arms?
For 199 bucks, it's really light, right? But it's not quite at that crazy lightness as some of these other ones we've spoken about. I can also tell you that most of these rods are going to be fast actions and not extra fast actions. So they are not as sensitive as like that Zodias or, you know, the Evergreen we're going to talk about, or the Rebellion, or some of those other ones that are just really crisp and fast. But that said, some of their fast actions and moderate fast actions are really perfect for doing things that don't require you to feel a fish breathe on your bait. So I'm going to highlight a couple of the ones that I think are definitely standouts in this line for you guys to check out. So, well, here, let's just start with this one because we were talking about it. The 7.4 heavy fast action is a badass one. It's rated for up to 1.5 ounces. This is one that, because it's not extra fast and it's fast, it's still going to bend through that top third of the rod, which is going to make loading and casting really, really easy. So if you're looking for a rod that you can kind of pitch, or that you can skip, that you can throw a frog and walk very easily, that you could throw, you know, 5 or 6 inch swim bait on, that you still get that load, a swim jig, that kind of stuff, this is a great rod. You can put heavy line on it, you can put pretty much any reel and it'll feel correctly. It's just a very versatile kind of do everything rod. For 199 bucks, super strong. You will definitely dig that one. The other one that's important to mention is this guy. Now this is the 7.2 medium heavy moderate, okay? So this is a 7.2, it's gonna have a moderate taper to it. So it's gonna bend more through the middle of the rod, more like a true crankbait rod would be. And that's really the design of this rod. So for 199 bucks, you can get a crankbait slash chatterbait rod that's graphite instead of glass, so it's going to be very light. Here, feel that one instead of the 7.4, and you'll feel how much lighter that is, right? So, you know, just a great bang for the buck, made in the USA, St. Croix warranty, really well put together for reaction baits and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a no-brainer for me. It's definitely a rod you should look at. Plus, it's also the only rod in our line that has cork. So I know a lot of you guys are not like EVA foam fans. I don't get it. I don't care what's on it. I just want it to look cool, right?
Yeah.
But I know a lot of you guys are, you know, super geeks on cork. So there you go. If you need something that has cork, it also has that. So definitely check those out. The Victory line from St. Croix. All right, and then to round out our top 5 favorite rods for under 200 bucks is arguably my favorite of the line. I don't know, I'm torn. I love the Levantes because it's such a massive line. You get all that great spec. I mean, dude, I love everything we've spoken about, but this series of line has been out for so long, and I've had so many of these that just have so much confidence in it. So this is from Evergreen International. This is the Evergreen Combat Stick. So, the first thing you're gonna notice is, dude, it's camouflage. So all of the rods, whether they're bait casting or spinning, they have the camo frog. Boom. I'm on fire
Dude, you're
today,
killing
Jeff.
it.
Where's my beer?
Where's your Oreo
Yeah,
and
maybe
your coffee?
I talk better with beer. Yeah, I haven't had either. I have not had enough. Quiet down over there. So you get this great camouflaged foam on all of them. So they definitely have a unique styling. If you don't like camouflage, tough shit, basically. Right? It's your option. But who doesn't like camouflage? Am I right? Did I lose you, Jeff? All of the Combat Stick line were personally developed as a collaboration between Brett Hite, Riza Shimizu, Evergreen, and maybe it's because, you know, Brett has worked through this shop for so long, and I saw all the time and effort. I mean, this was years of R&D of taking the highest end, you know, the $800,000, $900,000 Evergreen rods, and trying to match the actions, match the tapers, match the performance into a sub $200 rod. They worked their ass off on it, and they nailed the models. So from a performance standpoint, these rods deliver everything you need a $199 rod to deliver. Now, these rods have been out for a few years now. They are not the lightest rods. So here's a 7.3 heavy, Jeff. So you've been holding some of the lighter rods. Yeah. They're not the lightest rods. I mean, when you put these in your hand, you're not gonna be like, holy shit, didn't weigh anything. You they weigh something, right? Now, what I can tell you is we sell thousands of these rods every year. We take very few back for breakage. So they're really put together correctly. They're sensitive, they're crisp, they're very comfortable in your hand. So it's custom designed reel seat, right? So it's really comfortable with the reel, no matter if you're behind the trigger, above the trigger. And they have great fast action models. I would venture to say that everybody probably knows the Evergreen line for their glass rods, right? So Evergreen makes the actual jackhammer rod that's arguably probably the best chatterbait rod on the market. They make another 7-foot glass rod that's an amazing squirrel rod. Griff basically lives on the ND180 rod, right? Or they don't call it that anymore, the wake bait rod, which is their 7/8, which is an amazing rod. But their fast action rods get overlooked a lot. They get overshadowed by those rods, but those are the rods that I think are really the most important to talk about. So they make 2 jig and worm rods in 7.3. They make a 7.3 medium heavy and a 7.3 heavy that I think are great starting points if you are looking for, you know, one rod to do everything, or you're looking for a good solid jig and worm rod for under $200. They're fast action, right? So they're going to be real crisp, really sensitive. They've got everything you need in a rod. It's 7.3. It's a great length if you're fishing from shore or from a boat. It's long enough, yet not too long that it can accomplish everything you need. Now, the other rod that really, to me, this is, in my opinion, the most versatile spinning rod that I have in my store. And this is a 7.1 medium heavy spin. Now, this is the rod that, you know, my kids, as they started growing up, I started them on bait casting rods right out of the gate because I think that's the hardest thing to learn. So I knew they were going to suck as being little kids anyways, like every little kid does. So I wanted them to suck on bait casting so that when they actually learned what they were doing, they got it. So I didn't transition them to spinning until they were a little bit older, right? And so when I did, I wanted a rod that could basically just do everything. And this is that rod. Most of the time when people think of a really versatile spinning rod, they think of a 7-foot medium, right? And I would venture to say that in most rod brands and rod categories, that's probably the right rod. In the combat stick, the 7.1 medium heavy is just, it's built different. So it's got a lure rating of 1/4 to 1 ounce. So it's got this huge lure rating. So basically anything that's on the shelves for normal bass fishing will fit within that lure rating. What's nice is even though it's a medium heavy, so it's got the power to handle all that weight, it still bends through the midsection of the rod. So it's fast, right? It's got that fast tip so you can throw your finesse blasts, your drop shot, your, you know, all the things we just talked about. But when you really lay into it, it still bends through that midsection as well. So it can manage fish on reaction baits, spinner bait, swim bait, that kind of stuff as well. It's got that nice tapered front grip, just like we spoke about on the Rebellion, so it's super comfortable. And the other thing about the combat stick line is it's the only line of the 5 we just talked about that's actually used on tour. These are the rods that Brett actually uses on tour, which is super impressive, right? And if you go and you look at some of the, you know, West Coast Evergreen guys like Justin Kerr, who almost pulled off the Classic, right? Sean Bailey, those guys, they're actually using these rods, right? So they're built correctly. They've got all the performance. You know, pros are trusting them. They've been on the market. They have history. Under $200. It's a no-brainer. So definitely worth checking out. Take a look at those, the Evergreen Combat Stick, both in casting and spinning.
All right, dude, show us how to truly balance rod.
Okay. This is a big pet peeve of mine. We talk about this a lot. So if you guys want to do this, but please don't send this to me because I'm going to think you're an idiot. This kind of nonsense for balancing rods, this is so stupid. So I hate seeing when people do this and try to figure out like, oh, it's perfectly balanced on my finger. It doesn't mean shit, right? There's no line on it. You don't hold the rod here. There's no bait tied to it. This doesn't mean anything, okay? Some rods are built to be heavier in the butt section. Some rods are built to be tip heavy to do certain things. Put the damn reel on it, okay? Hold it in your hand. Does it feel good? Good. There you go. It's balanced. It's not like enough of this finger shit already. Yeah, there's my soapbox for the day. All right, guys, that is a wrap. Those are our 5 favorite rod lines for under 200 bucks. I know you guys would be happy with any of those, but if you have questions on anything that we just covered, leave me a question down below. I will definitely get to it. If you guys want to see any of these rods bend, like if you're ever shopping for rods, I know how hard rods can be to buy online, right? And so it doesn't matter if it's a $199 rod or a $1,000 rod. If you guys are ever torn between two and you want to see the actions, the tapers, the bends, hit me up on Instagram. That's why we put our Instagram handles on there, because we live on that all day. Just shoot me a DM and I would be happy to send you a video of showing you the flexes and the different pieces of the rod so you guys can see them up closer. Till next time, on behalf of myself and Jeff and everybody here at The Hookup, thank you guys for watching and the support, and we will see you again soon. Peace out.